Welcome, everybody, to Madison Square Garden in New York. Today, we've got your ticket to the Big East Conference Championship game between Seton Hall and Georgetown. The bizarre Big East tournament that saw the top 3 seeds all go out in the first round. Syracuse, St. John's, and UConn. Seton Hall and Georgetown remain in this championship chase for the Big East. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Nance, and welcome to Selection Sunday here on CBS. If you had to select the most valuable player of this tournament to this point, it would easily be Oliver Taylor of Seton Hall. He has been sensational. First on Friday, closing seconds. He slashes through the lane and beats Pittsburgh by a point with that layup. That lifted them into the semifinals, and then yesterday with the game tied against Villanova. It was Friday's hero once more. Taylor pulling up, taking the jumper, and winning it over the Wildcats and advancing the Pirates into the Big East championship game, Billy Packer, for the first time ever. But this is a very familiar ground right now for Georgetown.
It really is, Jim. This club entering their 6th championship game in Big East history. I mean, they're 6-0 and seven shots at it. They're a club that's playing so much better now than they did earlier in the year, primarily because of these two fellas right here, Mutombo and Mourning. You can see that Mutombo, 37 rebounds, has a chance to break the all-time Big East record in regard to rebounding. And Alonzo Mourning, who is now playing up to his All-American potential, coming off of that injury. On defense, it's the same old Georgetown, even better, holding their opponents to 30% field goal shooting, and you get nothing beyond that three-point range.
Well, we just showed the highlights, the exciting highlights, how Seton Hall advanced here. How else do you think the Pirates have done it?
Well, of course, one of the things about Seton Hall, I think they got Anthony Avent on the inside is doing a great job defensively. You can see not only points and rebounding, a solid performer in the front line. And you pointed out, Jim, and you're the guy credit that tailor-made victory. You can see right there, 35 points, 15 for 21 in regard to field goals. He has been outstanding as a backcourt leader for this club.
And in close games, Billy?
Well, in close games, and this is kind of surprising because of their solid backcourt. 0-3 in regular season, but 2-0, and that's why they're in this championship game for the very first time in their history. All
right, Billy, we're getting set for the tip. We'll come back, starting lineups, and get the game underway. Seton Hall and Georgetown for the Big East title. Coming up next on CBS.
CBS Sports coverage of today's Big East Championship game is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. Starter, authentic licensed apparel for the NCAA, NFL, MLB, NBA, and the NHL. And by UPS, now offering 10:30 a.m. guaranteed overnight air delivery.
Madison Square Garden. Boy, has this place housed some basketball games the last few days. 4 on Friday, 3 yesterday. The Big East semifinals and a Knicks game last night against the Utah Jazz. Now, let's set the starting lineups for the Big East title game. First for John Thompson's Hoyas of Georgetown, an 18-11 record on the year. Churchwell will start in the front court along with Mourning and Mutombo. Mutombo's had some big rebounding games in this tournament. In the backcourt, Joey Brown had a nice game yesterday along with Charles Harrison. 2 freshmen in the backcourt. For Seton Hall, Arturas Karnišovas in the front court along with Gordon Winchester. And their main man inside is Anthony Avent. In the backcourt, Terry DeHare, who has been ice cold in the Big East tournament, along with Oliver Taylor. P.J. Carlesimo is the head coach of the Pirates, 21-8 on the season. Leslie Visser will be with us throughout the day, and let's check in right now with Leslie.
Jim, they're starting to call this the Ollie Taylor tournament. One paper agreed with you guys, called it tailor-made. Well, as you mentioned, he won 2 games at the buzzer. One a driving layup, the other a 16-footer. This morning he told me with a smile, you know, I still haven't won one with a 3-point shot. When I told Seton Hall assistant coach Rod Baker that, Rod rolled his eyes and said, let's hope we don't have to depend on that. Back to you, Jim.
All right, Leslie. Oliver certainly has added a whole new twist to this Seton Hall team. And today's officials, Mickey Crowley in this pairing, in this threesome.
And Pete Pavia and Gene Manji, 2 fellas from Rochester, New York. So that town has to be proud today. They're leading the Big East in official representation.
Billy, there's the stat you talked about. Hoyas in the Big East Finals 6 times, and they've won all 6. Today is number 7. Seton Hall tipping it up in the championship game for the first time.
Got to throw that one up again. Both guys tried to steal the tap.
Well, they say it was off the hands of Seton Hall, so Joey Brown will bring it into the front court for Georgetown.
Yeah, the referees never were good at throwing the ball up in the air, and now they only get one try a game, so it's a skill that's long gone.
Mourning has it knocked away. Winchester got a hand off it on it, then it bounced off the foot of Alonzo Mourning.
Jim, one of the things I saw these two teams play on February the 16th, Georgetown didn't even resemble the way they're playing now in that game. They played very poorly.
Foul called on Mutombo as Winchester was driving baseline. These two teams in the regular season split. Georgetown won at home, and the game you attended at the Meadowlands, Billy, February the 16th. Seton Hall pulled off the victory in that one.
They really did, and they won that game only shooting 36% from the floor.
Double teaming DeHare in the corner.
Tough spot.
He gets it out to Avent.
Nice job by Terry and DeHare to get rid of that ball. Georgetown opens up in their zone. May help DeHare that he's going to play against his zone. Cross-court pass could get him started from the three-point line.
Winchester called for the offensive foul, knocking Churchwell to the floor. Seton Hall picking up full court.
Tough to press Georgetown full court because of that man right there. They throw over the top of most presses, and Alonzo Mourning can really catch the ball against pressure.
Churchwell drives and comes up short. DeHare with the loose ball.
Not looking to run. Look for DeHare on a skip pass for a three. There it is,
Billy, from the corner. This is a three, and that's a start. He has not been able to enjoy the first two games.
I am really surprised that John Thompson is not keeping an eye on him. Here you got a guy in a slump. Keep him in a slump. Don't let him get that wide open shot.
Steal by Karnishevas as they tried to go inside to Mutombo.
Telegraph the pass.
DeHare is open again on the wing. Another three-pointer. Off the front of the rim. Joey Brown. He'll pull up. Karnishevas with the rebound. Knocked out of his hands. And Georgetown ball. No, they've reversed the call now. They'll say it was off Joey Brown.
Joey Brown and Harrison had big games in the win that's early on in the beginning of the year that Georgetown was able to come up with a 73-65 win at Seton Hall. Backcourt played a particularly great game in the second half.
Oliver Taylor did not play in that game for Seton Hall. That was one reason why. Here's DeHare off balance. Rebound Joey Brown. Spin move by Brown and score it.
So far, Taylor being patient, not trying to push his luck. He's been playing so well in this tournament.
In the lane, Karnishevas partially blocked by Mourning, but they'll call him for the foul. Gotta love that move by Joey Brown before, Billy.
Joey Brown, excellent play right here. Takes the spin, goes up with a jumper. Little half hook. Excellent play.
Joey was our CBS Chevrolet MVP of the game yesterday against Providence.
Well, this backcourt, so young. You know, you're talking about three perimeter players expected to blend with two very seasoned, outstanding veterans inside, and it has taken some time.
Karnishevas, freshman from Lithuania, hits two free throws. 5-2 Seton Hall. There's a turnover. Winchester gets it for the Pirates. And they'll reset it with Taylor.
Straight man now.
Inside, Winchester blocked by Mourning.
Sensational pass, and Alonzo Mourning showing that quickness on the inside. Great bounce pass. You can see Alonzo comes all the way across the lane, times it perfectly, and with that strength is able to put the ball back.
DeHare, two-pointer, no good. Brown now will start the break. He's got Harrison out ahead. Harrison with a nice move to lay it in.
And that's something that Seton Hall will have to be careful of. Georgetown doesn't break that much, but that time there was no floor balance because the Hare had the ball down in the deep corner.
Karnišović partially blocked by Mourning.
Alonzo wanting the lob.
Mutombo. De Hare gets the rebound. Georgetown missed the easy one.
Avent wanting that ball down inside.
First time he's touched it, really. Karnišović short on a three. Avent trying to fight for the rebound. You won't take it away from Mutombo. Mutombo will have an excellent chance of breaking the Big East tournament rebounding record in this game today. All he needs is 4 rebounds. He had 27 boards against UConn. A little hook missed by Mourning. 2-on-1 for the Pirates. Ollie Taylor all the way.
Did a nice job cutting off Joey Brown so Brown couldn't get his foot in the right place to start to leap for that block. So you see Jerry Walker on the side looking to come in. Karnišović probably going to sit down here to get a little more power on the boards. Well, they ought to go to Alonzo Mourning. Karnišović can't handle him physically.
Harrison may have traveled. Yes. That's 4 turnovers against the Hoyas in the game's first 4 minutes, 40 seconds. Seton Hall has the early edge.
Fine bounce pass by Karnišović on into Winchester. Looks like he has, with tremendous post-up play, an easy shot to the basket. But watch the great reactions by Mourning and Mutombo here. In this particular case, Alonzo Mourning coming over for the block. Tremendous reaction on the ball. And one of the reasons why it's so difficult to score inside against Georgetown.
Seton Hall with the basketball and a 7-4 lead. Jerry Walker in the game now with the ball. Bouncing it inside to Avent. He's going to take the shot over Mutombo and draw the foul. That's 2 on Mutombo. 3 on Georgetown.
And if you're Mutombo, you have to have a quizzical look on your face because he had his hands straight up, didn't create any of the contact whatsoever. And if anything, I thought that was a no call.
Avent has not had great numbers against Georgetown in the 2 games. He had 12 points and 4 rebounds in the loss at Georgetown, and then a season low 8 points in the victory at home. It's the only game this year he failed to score in double figures.
Sat out a lot of that game, Jim, with foul problems, and that's the game that Jerry Walker played so well. And as I mentioned, Seton Hall in that game only shot 36% and still came away with a win.
Mourning returns to the lineup for Mutombo, who will sit with 2 fouls. Brian Kelly is in for the Hoyas, along with Lamont Morgan and Ronnie Thompson. Mourning was triple teamed right away, and Seton Hall a little too close. Personal foul against the Pirates, Anthony Avent. He used to have all kinds of foul trouble. Billy, he fouled out of 7 games last season, only once this year.
Well, he's improved himself so much as a basketball player, and of course one of the big areas is his experience as to where he can use that upper body strength and where he can on the inside.
Kelly misses the outsider. Oliver Taylor chases it down in the corner.
Avent wanting to beat his man down the floor.
Offensive on Avent. There's number 2.
Well, a good acting job by Kelly. Avent did a great job on that particular play, beating Alonzo Mourning down the floor and then getting a very cheap foul on the inside. So he got saved on one and hurt on another. You can see he's waving for the ball to come down the court quickly, setting up position. Kelly does an acting job, picks up the foul.
Hoyas trail by 5. Joey Brown wanted to shoot, then decided to pass. Mourning gets it back for him. Swinging it in the corner. Ronnie Thompson
Boy, terrific defense by Avent. He left his man and went over and Scott Thompson's jumper.
Now block, a vicious block by Terry DeHare as the 6'3" guard slaps it right out of bounds.
Excellent leaping ability there, but that defensive sequence was set up by the great job Avent did, realizing there was a man open in the corner, left Alonzo Mourning and went all the way to the corner for defensive purposes.
Mutombo's in for Kelly, and Mourning gets a hold of the inbound pass. Georgetown's only made 2 of 10 shots. Loose ball to Mutombo, right underneath, and a 3-point opportunity.
DeHare with the foul, and he's raising his hand very smartly there to make sure it's not called an Avent. You see, both are going to slap on the inside. Mutombo finally cuts the ball loose, goes back inside. You can see the foul probably was Avent's foul in terms of the reach, but they're going to call it on DeHare, who quickly came out of the pack with his hand raised.
And now the 7'2" senior from Zaire will attempt to complete the 3-point play. He does. Cuts it to 2.
And you can remember the fabled Georgetown press. This year's team doesn't press anywhere near as much or as effectively as they have in the past.
Why is that, Billy?
Well, first of all, I think they have very young perimeter players so that they're not as adept as they were in the past. And secondly, the 2 big guys make it kind of difficult to set up the press that they've had in the past.
Mutombo.
Walker again getting a piece of the ball.
Twice they knocked it out of his hands as he was going up with it.
Avent trying to beat the big men down court.
Baseline pass and a traveling call against Winchester. Brian Caver is in for the Pirates. He's a backup guard. Karnisovas is returning to the lineup for Winchester. Duke and North Carolina will be coming your way on CBS later today. Some of you will see Loyola Marymount against Princeton. That Duke-Carolina game very possibly could be for the #1 seed in the East.
Jim, it would have been a moot point, in my opinion, had Syracuse not been knocked out in that opening round of the Big East tournament, but that put themselves behind the 8 ball in terms of that #1 seed.
Foul on Lamont Morgan. And Kelly comes right back in, shuttling in for Mourning. Joey Brown back off the bench, and so is Churchwell, as Morgan and Thompson will rest. 6 Georgetown turnovers. Billy, you're right. Syracuse had the edge on that East spot, but now I think they're relegated to a 2 seed.
Yeah, even getting to a Big East final, probably would have put them in that position. Not necessarily having to win this tournament, but to lose in that opening round, and it has to haunt you a little.
Bouncing it inside. Avent over Mutombo. Good move.
Snuck it back in with the right hand, but Mutombo could not get to him because the rim was in the way.
They say Kelly pushed off with the free arm. His first team foul #5.
Jim, I mentioned this yesterday. It's not a knock on Kelly because he has a role to play on this ball club, but sometimes he tries to do things offensively that are just not there in terms of his ability.
Good pump fake by Taylor. Blocked from behind by Churchwell. Jerry Walker falls to the floor, may have bruised an elbow, and traveled at the same time.
Boy, he gave up his body as he tried to make the play, knowing he was going to hit the floor hard. You see him coming across here. A strong young man that plays all. He might have gotten rid of that ball before he hit the ground, which would have been the key as to whether it was a walk or not.
Walker still grimacing as he heads back on defense for the Pirates, who lead by 4. Kelly has the open jumper. He'll pass it up.
Well, Walker realizing that behind him would have been the big postman who was trying to help out.
Churchwell missing from the baseline. Ryan Caver. Avent gets it back to Caver. Taylor thought he would take that shot, Billy.
And he's showing me a lot, in the fact that he's playing a smart ball game. He's had such a great tournament, but he's not trying to force his own shot today.
Avent. That had rejection written all over it. Now Karnisovas gets it to Taylor. Bounce pass to Avent. He'll try again. Big high lofting shot this time.
Well, again, Taylor with the smart play, and you can see what the whole plan is to create some foul problems for Georgetown. In the game that they won at the Meadowlands, that's exactly what they did. They got Alonzo Mourning out of there, so they only had to play against one of the big men.
Kelly sets a pick. Brown spins again, this time wildly throwing it up. Haver on the break. And a blocking foul on Georgetown.
That shot, and I had pretty good eye contact with Caver. Caver was looking to make a play. He wanted to dish the men filling the lanes. Now watch him right here. He's got some guys filling the lanes, and right here I watched his eyes, and he was looking to make a play, but nobody moved quickly enough for him to get a passing angle. There he looks. He's waiting for somebody to come, and they don't come. At the last minute, he says, well, I might as well look for the basket, and made a great play. He was running that break as a point man as well as you can run it, because instead of going full blast, he kind of hesitated, put it in a lower gear, waiting for somebody to pass him in the lanes, but nobody did.
Freshman from Trenton, New Jersey. Scores the three-point play to give Seton Hall its largest lead. It's a 9-point lead, 9 minutes into the game.
A student of geography to follow the Big East. On the floor today, we have Dikembe Mutombo from Zaire, also Arturas Karnisovas from Lithuania, a number of other players throughout the league. Don't forget, last year, Nadav Hennefeld led Connecticut to the Final 8, and the year before, Andrew Gaze took Seton Hall to the Final 4. We'll see a number of players coming along. It will continue because, as PJ Carlissimo says, more players are playing at a higher level around the world. Jim?
All right, Leslie, and of course Seton Hall had Marco Locar, a young man from Italy, transfer out in the middle of the season. He was embroiled in a controversy, refusing to wear the American flag patch on his uniform. And he quit the team, although some will tell you he was unhappy with his minutes and may have been on his way out anyway.
Karnisovas really having a problem no matter whether he gets matched up with Alonzo Mourning or Mutombo. He's given up a lot in regard to upper body strength. He is a finesse type player and will get stronger, of course, with age, but tough to ask him to play either one of those two men this early in his career.
Down low, Mourning is now being guarded by Asaf Barnea, who has checked in for the Pirates. Here's the three-pointer. Lamont Morgan will score it, and a foul underneath against the Hoyas, but the basket will count. That's a three by Lamont Morgan, who added 10 off the bench yesterday in the victory over Providence.
Jim, so far in my mind in this particular game, the difference has been the experienced leadership of Seton Hall in terms of their backcourt, as opposed to the Georgetown backcourt that has a hard time sometimes getting their bigger people into the game early, in the offensive end particularly. And that's something that just comes with experience. The linguist.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, the linguist. He can talk to him in 5 different languages and likes to speak. He's really the first young player. I remember when he first came on the scene at Georgetown that John Thompson couldn't stop from talking. I mean, he has a very good sense of humor.
That foul was on Mourning. He has 2. Mutombo has 2. Barnea will shoot a 1-and-1. Talking about Mutombo, did you know that he has a little bit of acting experience behind him? He appeared in the French language theater group at Georgetown called Les Bêtes Lures.
But you know what's interesting too, in terms of his the only language that he couldn't handle when he first came, and the reason he had to sit out the first year was English. So he had no problem with it. And will graduate on time in the School of Languages at Georgetown.
How did you like my French?
I did.
He's got a year to get ready for Albertville.
You and Bobby Crimmins with that Les Miserables.
Les Miserables, right. Tried to force the bounce pass, did Brown, turns it over. Tabor has it. Tried to hit Zaire, the trailer.
And another steal. This is typical Big East basketball here. And that was a matter, again, of freshmen making decisions that weren't quite there. Brown on one occasion and Caver on the other.
10-minute mark of the first half.
Morning may pick up a foul just because he is too strong inside.
Coming from behind, Caver took part of Morning's arm with him. That's the first on Caver and 6 on Seton Hall, so Georgetown will inbound it. Returning is Oliver Taylor for Caver.
Jim, they're really, you know, when you look back the 2 games these guys have played this year, there's only one real constant in what has happened, and that is Terry DeHare. He scored 21 in one game and 22 in the other. Other than that, it's just been a game where neither team shot very well.
DeHare swats that one out of the arms of Mutombo, and traveling called on the Hoyas. Well, with that offensive rebound after his own miss, Mutombo just set the Big East tournament record. 41 rebounds now for Mutombo, breaking Derek Coleman's mark. Three-pointer. Oliver Taylor.
Skip pass is working because Georgetown big people can't go all the way across the court on those long passes.
Timeout called by Georgetown. Double-digit deficit. 21-10, Seton Hall in front. Its 7th Big East final, and Seton Hall today for the very first time playing for the Big East championship and leading 21-10. Jim Nance along with Billy Packer. And Billy, your thoughts on the way the Pirates have played to this point?
Well, I'm going to credit a lot to Oliver Taylor, although he doesn't have the stats that he's had in games previously in this tournament. But what he has done is set the tempo for his team to stay in their offense. He's not tried to go one-on-one. He's not tried to go ahead and take things in his own hand. The difference is that Georgetown's guards have not been able to get their big people in the game for good shots.
Well, that time Brown dished to Mutombo, bypassed the shot unwisely, I might add. Georgetown keeps it. Harrison makes the jumper, saved by Morgan, and Karnišović gets a hand on it but called for the foul. That's 2 on Karnišović, 7 on Seton Hall. 6:30 today on CBS, the exclusive live announcement of the NCAA basketball tournament pairings. Billy will be in the studio along with Mike Francesa, Greg Gumbel out in Kansas City. We talked about Syracuse slipping from a 1 seed, most likely because of its first round loss here. I think there is another issue today that may be decided. If Texas finds a way to beat Arkansas for the 2nd time in a week, I think the Razorbacks, yep, I think Indiana will slip in as the 1 seed in the Southeast.
Well, one of the things that I found most interesting with Jimmy Delaney's comments yesterday was how much work seemed to already have been done, not only in terms of who's getting in, but where they were going to be seated. And that was as of yesterday. So you wonder how much these final day pairings, something I'm sure we'll ask Jim, how much they really had to do with it, these championships in these conference tournaments.
Seton Hall has it taken away on the press by Georgetown.
There's the Georgetown press for the first time today, becoming effective. Seton Hall changing their defense. They go to 1-3-1 half-court trap. Now, Taylor is running the baseline. You ought to be able to take advantage of him on the weak side rebound. And there's the weak side rebound, because Taylor is the guy too small to be in position to rebound that play. Tough to run a small guard on the baseline.
Churchwell loses it. Had it taken away, and a foul called on Lamont Morgan racing down court.
What he tried to do is to hold Winchester up.
2nd on Lamont Morgan, 8 on the Hoyas, a 1-1 coming up for the Pirates. Selection Sunday on CBS, starting out from Madison Square Garden in New York. Seton Hall and Georgetown for the Big East Championship. What kind of seedings do you think these teams are playing for today, or do you think there's any bearing on the outcome of this game in that department?
Well, I believe Seton Hall is looking at a top 16 seed by working their way into the championship game here. They've had an outstanding year, been good in intersectional play as well.
If it loses?
If it loses, they could be on the brink of one of those 4-seeded teams, in my opinion.
Walker comes in replacing Winchester.
And Georgetown's going to be one of the most difficult 8, 9, 10 seeds in the whole deal.
You know what? I think the Hoyas now are going to get a better seed than that. I all along thought they were headed for an 8, 9 seed.
7, 8?
I think they're looking at a 6 seed, maybe.
Possible. Nobody is going to want to play him, I can tell you that. And there's that 1-3-1. Half-court trap.
Joey Brown driving and gets the roll.
Boy, the defense designed not to allow that to happen. Nice play by Kelly.
Kelly steps right in and gets the turnover. Gets the steal.
Excellent.
Kelly.
Excellent anticipation by Kelly. Realized where that pass was going and got on the proper side. And there's your Indiana club. And that game is at Illinois, correct?
That's right. First foul on Ollie Taylor. 8 on Seton Hall. So Kelly goes to the line for a 1-and-1 as Ronnie Thompson returns for Lamont Morgan.
Yeah, in Georgetown's win earlier the year, they were 28 of 34 from the line in that win at home. They already are starting to get on the line quite a bit here. They actually scored 15 more points in Seton Hall in the victory, and that came from the line.
Karnišovas was bumped as he went after the free ball, but no foul was called. Georgetown will bring it in.
Thompson tried to get Alonzo Mourning in the game, and that whistle break, and not quite quick enough.
Lobbing it inside, and you talk about a hold. Jerry Walker almost tackled Mutombo.
That excellent play, though. Very difficult because you're not getting any help from the wings to stop that particular lob pass.
Number 22, Gordon Winchester is back in the Irish, replacing Karnišovas.
You can see Jerry Walker now all by himself back there with Mutombo, and did everything he could to try to stop him, but pass interference if it were a football game, and Mutombo still made the catch.
First and goal from the 1.
That's right.
1-and-1. Good free throw shooter, Mutombo also.
Oh, he's really improved himself in that area.
He's 70% this year, which, as Billy says, is an improvement.
Well, I think even more than the stats is the way that he's approaching the foul shot and the way that he stays with the shot with his follow-through.
Lon Morgan shuttles in, replacing Mutombo. Of course, Alonzo Mourning, the other big man, excellent free throw shooter as well for the Hoyas, 78%.
Right, improved himself greatly from his freshman year. Georgetown staying now in their man-to-man. Showed a couple of different looks here today.
Backing in is Walker. Walker gets the pass to Avent. Off the glass.
You notice how Avent turned his left shoulder that time into Alonzo Mourning, so that Mourning could not get his hand to the ball. Created more distance.
Wide open. Jam session for Mourning. His first 2 points of the game. Hoyas back to the press. They break it with Caver. To Hare. Passing up the shot. Still has been silent today at one three-pointer. Walker is blocked and gets it back. And they say it was off Walker, out of bounds.
John Thompson lifting Walker from the floor. You know that Thompson likes Walker as a player. Excellent block by Churchwell, and it's really nice to see that young man who went down in what looked like it could have been a serious knee injury yesterday. Came back in the second half, however, and looks like he's fine today. A couple of all Big East freshman selection.
Joey Brown spinning again on Caver. Back of the rim. Warning fouled as he was pump faking.
Jim, that could have been an offensive foul on Brown. You know, when he uses that spin move and goes up, he takes his left hand and puts it out to block off the defender. Got by with it that time, however.
Gordon Winchester was whistled for that foul. And that's now 10 on the Pirates. So the double bonus situation, if you will. 2 free throws for Alonzo Mourning. He has made 20 of 22 from the line in this tournament. Over 90%.
Alonso coming on. He had 24 and 11 in the last regular season game against Syracuse. Then he started off with an outstanding game. 19 against Connecticut, 17 Providence. Rounding back into form as one of the nation's premier big men. Missed 9 games this year, and really more than that because it took him a number of games to get back in condition.
5-point lead for Seton Hall.
Avent wanted the lot from Caber. That would have been a tough pass to complete.
Avent tried to get it Barnea. Barnea wasn't ready for it, and a Seton Hall turnover.
You're making a good point there, Jim. He wasn't ready for it, but should have been. If he had his hands up around his eyes, ready to catch a ball, he would have had himself a layup. You have to anticipate you're going to get a pass back.
Warning, sizing up the situation. They kick it out to Thompson. Avent with the forceful rebound. Only his first rebound of the day, Billy. He averages in double figures in rebounding. Blocking foul on Joey Brown. Well, the tournament we keep talking about, it gets started at 12 noon Eastern time on Thursday. Full tournament coverage beginning at 12 noon. We'll take you throughout the afternoon, have a small news break, and then come back with the prime time edition of the tournament that will take us into the wee hours. All the way to the Final Four and the final buzzer. Caber shooting a 1-and-1 for Seton Hall. Pirates have not missed today from the line. They're 9 for 9.
This has become a free throw shooting contest. Every pass is being contested, and certainly you're not going to get many shots on the inside. You know, we keep talking about Georgetown's defense, but yesterday Villanova was the first team to shoot over 50% against Seton Hall this entire year.
Whole year. Caber makes them both. Seton Hall, the Big East free throw shooting champs for the 3rd year in a row. 76% as a team. Brown lost his footing, it appeared. 5:30 left in the first half. High pass for Mutombo. In the corner, Lamont Morgan takes the 3 and hits it.
Second big shot from that area today from Morgan. One of the things about Mutombo, when he gets the ball in the post and he knows he's being surrounded, he needs to fire it out quicker, almost like a touch pass. Avent showing he doesn't have a left-handed hook.
Mutombo for Georgetown, and the Hoyas trailing by 4. Lamont Morgan averages 4 a game. He's got 8, Billy, so he's again adding a lift from the bench. And here he is, Morgan. Inside pass almost stolen by Karnišović.
Morgan pats himself on the temples to say that was my fault. He knew that Karnišović was coming from the weak side.
The last moment, Brian Kelly checks in. Now they won't allow it. Ball picked up by Caber. 3-on-1 for Seton Hall. He takes to DeHare, forces the foul on Georgetown.
Well, they certainly had the numbers on that play, and that time, and kind of surprising because Caber does know how to run the break. That time, he took the ball a little bit too forcefully to the hole. If he'd have pulled up a little bit, he'd have given an opportunity for Terry DeHare to fill the lane. He could have dropped it off for an easy shot. But again, Seton Hall back on the foul line.
Foul was on Harrison. Ronnie Thompson comes in for Brown. I think DeHare came over and said, hey, I'd like to have it the next time we're in that situation.
Exactly. But sometimes, you know, on the break, it's not a matter. The man with the ball is the guy that has to be somewhat on a yo-yo string. He's the guy that has to determine when he's going to make that play, and the way to make the play
is to get the proper passing angles. And the way you do that is to slow down or speed up how quickly you're going toward the foul line area where he's standing right now. Sometimes you have to wait. Sometimes you have to hustle up to create the angle.
A couple of starters return to the floor. Morning for Georgetown. You saw Taylor for Seton Hall come back. First free throw miss of the game for the Pirates. They're making their first 12.
Well, Karnišovas is doing a great job anticipating passes into the post coming in to help from the weak side.
3 players in all surrounding Mutombo. They call Karnišovas for grabbing the arm. That's 3 on Arturas Karnišovas.
Jim, if you see that that's happening and you're a passer and you're throwing to the post and constantly there are 3 men around your postman, all it takes is a good ball fake, an eye fake into the post, fake it in there, and then throw opposite to a man's open for the jumper, because the defender has to move on your fake. They're obviously not doing that. They're telegraphing a pass right into the post.
And you think Mutombo sometimes is too myopic also.
Right. He catches the ball, then he holds it and throws a very soft pass back out to the outside. Sometimes he ought to think pass as he's catching the ball. A Larry Bird type. You know, Bird a lot of times is merely a touch pass back to the next man.
How about the way he looks for other areas to go to other than the man who threw it into it?
Exactly, exactly. You know, you know where somebody's open, and you just go ahead and almost deflect the ball over in that area, as opposed to having to catch, think, look, and then pass.
Seton Hall with the 4-point lead. Caver wildly somehow got it to Barnea. Swatted away by Mutombo. Here comes the break. Harrison gets the trailer. Taken away by Taylor. Harrison saves it. And there's Ollie Taylor. Boy, what the Giants.
What a job he did that time defensively. And then ended up with the rebound on top of it.
First he broke it away from the trailer on the break. Caver, three-pointer. That one had no arc. Foul called on Thompson of Georgetown.
But with Avent and DeHare out of the ballgame, DeHare ready to come back in, you can see that Seton Hall kind of struggling a little bit as to who is going to take a shot. And the key now with 3:26 to go, if you're Seton Hall, is to stay in control of this lead. But don't let a run come from Georgetown right here and take away what you've held for the entire first half. And which you secured by foul shooting.
Joey Brown signals to Harrison, I'm checking in for you.
Seton Hall made 20 of 26 free throws, Jim, in the game that they won in the Meadowlands. So both teams have shot extremely well from that line in the games that they won. High-low post.
Morning gets it in there perfectly, and Mutombo just lays it in, drops it in.
I don't know why Georgetown doesn't do that more often. I mean, it's almost indefensible. A pass from a 6'10" man to a 7'2" man going right over the top of the defense.
Call that your morning Mutombo combo. Karnišovas has it, or Barnea has it blocked by Morning this time. It'll belong to Seton Hall when we come back. A 3-point lead for the Pirates, who have never trailed in this game.
Live to Kansas City to set the field for the NCAA women's tournament. Right now, back to Jim Nance. Jim.
All right, Pat, thank you. We'll look forward to hearing from you at halftime. Seton Hall with the 3-point lead will inbound under its own basket with Oliver Taylor. DeHare to this point, Billy, still only 1 for 4. Here he is.
And the one he got was the first one he took in the ball game.
He's the leading scorer for the Pirates. who has not been shooting well at all in the Big East tournament. In fact, he's only 7 for 31 from the floor in the tournament.
Full zone here, 2-1-2. Mutombo in the center, tough to get a shot in there.
Avent partially blocked by Mutombo.
Exactly not the place you want to put the ball in the zone against this club. Here goes that high-low again. Jerry Walker pushed Mutombo right off the court.
Here's Mourning in the lane.
They go back to man-to-man on the made field goal.
Avent. Oh, how about that?
You know, he can really take Mutombo if he can get him at the top of the key or from the foul line to the top of the key, because he's got the good dribble. Mutombo doesn't stay with that, as opposed to playing him down in the low post.
I didn't hear him call bank, did you?
No. It looked like he was trying to go straight in. Makes no difference. Not playing horse.
Looked like a shot you would save for Horse. There's Avent.
Boy, a great block out by Walker that time, allowing his teammates to get the rebound. A lot of what that young man does doesn't show up necessarily on a stat sheet.
Taylor, first time today, he did not show restraint. Lamont Morgan now sets the Hoyas on offense, trailing by 3.
I think they could run the high-low for Mourning, because now you have Jerry Walker playing him.
There he is, trying to post up on the blocks. Both the big guys in the lane fighting for position.
There it is.
Mourning with Mutombo right in the area. Drawing the foul is Mourning. It'll go against Seton Hall's Jerry Walker. North Carolina and Duke, ACC tournament championship game coming up next. Some of you will see Loyola Marymount and Princeton. Most will see that Carolina-Duke game, a rematch of last Sunday's game from Chapel Hill. Duke won that one. In fact, they've swept the regular season against the Tar Heels. And later today, we'll follow Dan Jansen with some speed skating. An Olympic Winterfest. That's at 4:30. And at 6:30, the live exclusive announcement of the NCAA pairings for the tournament. No reason to wait for any clumsy fax machine to get you the pairings and the seedings for the tournament. We'll have it for you live. First up with it, 6:30. Avent getting some rest now. Takes his time. They actually start a count on him. Pascal Fleury comes in. He did not play in the game against Providence. He's from Canada, 7'2" freshman. They'd hoped to redshirt this year, but had to play him for various reasons, including injuries and transfers from the sophomore class.
It's the second time you showed off that French of yours, Jim.
It's getting better by the half. Closing seconds of the first half. Taylor, he likes these last second situations. Barnea, 3 on the clock. Harrison will take one from midcourt. Online but short. Seton Hall with a 1-point lead at the half. 31-30. Pat O'Brien and Mike Francesa will be back with the Prudential at the half after this message and a word from your local station.
Got into trouble is when they switched to zone, and Georgetown was able to pass diagonally over to top, and the lead, of course, slipped. Offensively, they want Terry DeHare to relax a little. He only has 3 points. They don't want him to anticipate that he has to score. Of course, the whole team's only shooting 32%. Jim?
All right, Leslie, that was an 11-point lead at one time, cut to 1 at the intermission. We'll continue after this message and a word from your local station. Then DeHare and Taylor facing the starting five of the Hoyas. Churchwell, Mourning, Mutombo, Brown, and Harrison.
And facing him in a 1-3-1 half-court trap with Alonzo Mourning running that baseline.
Skip pass, Oliver Taylor. He saw Mourning coming in on him, so he bypassed the jumper.
And you see how far out Mourning came running that baseline. About 15, 18 feet he covered in a second or so. Really quick for a big man.
10 on the shot clock. 5 on the clock. Taylor off balance. And the Hoyas with a chance to take the lead for the first time in the game.
They ought to wait on their big people now early in this second half.
Mourning. Way out there. That was a 2. That was a 2, Billy.
Alonzo on the year, 4 for 12 from 3, but he has that kind of range. Step out, shoot that jumper at the top of the key.
Lob pass to Avent. And up and over Mutombo. Seton Hall regains the lead. Mourning looking for Mutombo.
See, when Mourning comes out, Karnisovas has to go with him. Should leave Mutombo one-on-one down inside with Avent.
Mourning with a good tip. But falling backwards, he bounces it to Taylor. Taylor, good move to the basket.
Alonzo would have been smart to take that ball with him out of bounds. He really set up an outlet pass for Seton Hall's fast break. That should have been offensive.
Yep. Karnisovas took an elbow to the face. Unintentional. DeHare, the last minute, goes inside to Avent. And the Hoyas commit the foul.
You can see Karnisovas right here, and he's going to get one. Here comes the elbow, knocks him right backwards. No call made. I realize it's tough to referee as aggressively as Alonzo Mourning and Mutombo play, and as much as their elbows are up around your face level all the time. But that one certainly should have been called.
3 on Mutombo at the other end. He reaches in, knocks it out of bounds from Taylor.
Definitely do not want the ball down in the low corners against this defense, because the double team is there every time.
Hoyas had 7 blocks in the first half. 3 by Mourning, 2 by Mutombo, and 2 by Churchwell. Karnisovas, they left him open. Hey, PJ said that's a 3.
The officials are not sure.
Mickey Crowley signals back to the bench that it was a 2.
Yeah, well, he wasn't sure. A lot of hesitancy there.
Churchwell floating and scoring. His first 2 points of the game. Here's the replay on the Karnisovas jumper. Way inside of it.
Wasn't even close, so PJ had to be really reaching there. What PJ's asking if the officials, for some reason PJ's confused thinking about the pro line, but it wasn't even close.
Carried DeHare.
That was a 3. Fading away.
His second 3 of the game to give him 6.
But Jim, he's shown a lot more patience today, not forcing the shot, than yesterday. Yesterday, he was a frustrated ball player.
Trying to pick it up on defense against Harrison. And Harrison drives and gets DeHare to commit the foul. Here's how the ACC tournament has bracketed out to this point.
One of the few conferences, if not the only conference that I can think of right at the top of my hat, where number 1 is facing number 2 in the final game.
I'll tell you one other big roadblock for the committee today is Tennessee possibly, well, winning the SEC championship and definitely taking a bid away from someone in the process.
Without question, because Tennessee, with their record, never would have been considered for the NCAA tournament. Maybe, unfortunately, somebody from their own league, such as a Vanderbilt.
Georgetown beat Duke in the ACC Big East Challenge on December the 5th.
The game in which Alonzo Mourning suffered that arch injury and basically wiped him out for 2/3 of the season. Sticking with that zone, Avent again coming across the lane. That's his shot, that little half hook.
Off Seton Hall, it'll be Georgetown basketball. Lamont Morgan in for Harrison, and Mourning, after a short visit to the bench, comes in for Brian Kelly.
Oh, nice play.
They free up Morgan. Winchester brought it right back down.
Not only blocked it, almost just picked it off and took it with him.
Karnišović on the shove.
We're seeing right here, Winchester goes up, blocks the shot, and watch how he almost took the ball right with him on the way down, and it just hit his leg. Good play.
Jerry Walker in for Seton Hall for Karnišović, who has 4 fouls. Again, in this Big East Conference, you're allowed 6. Mourning, another outsider. Boy, nice touch for a big man, Billy.
Well, you see what happens when he goes out at that distance, and they ought to use it more often, because when he goes out there, that isolates inside on the tumble, because you've got to play Alonzo Mourning anywhere from 15 feet on out.
Avent, 2 men on him.
Key as to who that foul was called on. Mutombo's starting to pick up something.
That was on 4. Yep. Mutombo's 4th.
Jim, the best high-low I've seen in a long time, 2 guys, Bob Harstead and Chad Gallagher for Creighton. They run a high-low post as well as any 2 big fellas I've seen in a while. Now, they are seniors, a lot of experience playing together, but their concept, what Tony Barone has done out there, is something that is going to cause some problems in the NCAA tournament, and something that, to be quite honest with you, Georgetown has not perfected anywhere near as well, and they've got, in my estimation, bigger and better people to use with it.
I know that Creighton team is one you think could be a sleeper in the first couple of rounds.
Because it's difficult to guard 2 people that know what they're doing in the low post. It's one man is
Tough enough, but when you've got 2 that can operate together, it's tough.
Churchwell's jumper off the rim and over the backboard. It'll be Seton Hall's ball. When we return, Pirates with a 4-point lead. Do it for the first time since UCLA, 72-73. We'll find out the road for the running Rebels as we unveil the brackets and the pairings on the selection show today, 6:30 Eastern time.
Jim, April 1 is April Fool's Day, is that correct?
And that's, yes, that's the anniversary of the Villanova win over Georgetown.
So will we be fooled again? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I'm wondering. I was surprised that you asked me if that's April Fool's.
It was not necessarily a question. It was a semi-statement. Nice job by Taylor again, getting Morgan on his hip.
To Hare, 3-pointer. Can't get any kind of streak going with his shooting. Churchwell driving over Taylor. Chased down by Winchester.
When you play against either one of these teams, a streak is 2 in a row because you're not going to get any open shots.
In the lane, Avent. Little soft hook, too strong.
Georgetown never looks to throw the long outlet pass. Consequently, what happens to them is a lot of people pound 4 and 5 men on the boards, which doesn't give Alonzo Mourning nor Mutombo much room to operate even after they catch it. I'd like to see him release long every once in a while. A couple of guys and just throw the long touchdown pass.
Avent takes it away.
And if Vegas is there on April Fool's Day, you will see some long passes the way they operate on the blade.
Walker, offensive rebound.
The Hare wasn't ready to shoot.
The team on the bench team had its arms extended for the three. They were sure he was going to take the three.
He should have gathered himself on the catch and he'd have been ready.
Now Taylor takes one.
Nice. He was ready to shoot, squared up perfectly.
What a tournament, Billy. Career high yesterday with 25. Both buzzer beaters to get to the final.
And of course did not play in the first game against Georgetown, had knee problems. Neither did Alonzo Mourning play in that game, so a little trade-off.
The odd thing was that the knee problem that had been scoped before the season caused him to have a hip flexor and miss the Hoyas game also because of that. Ronnie Thompson in for the Hoyas. Joey Brown from three-point land.
Or a nice blocking out by Winchester and Avent on Mutombo. See, the shot selection by the guards by Georgetown really questionable because they never get the big guys in the game, and therefore if they're not in the game to get the ball, they don't know when to rebound offensively as well.
Well, you can't question the hustle of Brown on that play. Gets the steal to set up the layup for Morgan.
Hey, Morgan having some kind of day offensively. Now what, 8 points over his average?
Yep, well, let's see, Morgan now with 10 points. That's about right, Billy. Thought Avent may have gotten away with an extra step. Stripped away from Taylor.
Oh, there's a push by Walker, gets by with it.
And on the floor, two Georgetown players, and it's Seton Hall basketball.
Well, we actually had 4 on the floor there. And one of them turns out to be the referee. You want to talk about getting close to the scene here? Check the man on the floor. No question he's going to catch that.
Mickey's right on the mat with him as he's officiating a wrestling match.
You know, his sight may be going on him a little bit. He just wanted to get down in there. Almost looked like a referee in some kind of a wrestling match. Wanted to see if there was a fall.
Or a pin.
It's one and the same thing.
All right, well, so it shows you. Now, I know you're a wrestling fan, but not the real kind of wrestling.
No. Collegiate wrestling. Terrific. NCAA championship coming up.
Was that a promo?
Dan Gable got his club playing again. I guess you don't call it club. I got a wrestling team.
Team. Or squad.
Good step out by Brown, but he uses his hands. Nice job. A little hesitation dribble that time by Terry DeHare to go around when he realized the man was stepping out on the switch.
Billy, at the conclusion of this game, will be selecting, as always, a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player from each team, and in their honor, Chevrolet will donate a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school.
Boy, Joey Brown is contesting every dribble. Oh, and a foul call. He's doing a good job reaching in here.
Well, that is a foul, Billy.
Yeah, a little bump. The man that made the call, Pete Pavia, received the Golden Whistle Award last year as the man in officiating in all sports around the world that has done most for his community. We mentioned a Rochester native. Does great things for a camp up there for kids that have had cancer problems. It's called Good Days and Special Times. Just a wonderful fellow.
DeHare somehow let that ball slip right through his hands and out of bounds. Georgetown will take it over. When we return, 11:55 left in the Big East title game. Seton Hall with a 5-point edge. Still incredulous after the foul called on Joey Brown when he was attempting to steal it. Got a little too heated in his discussion with the officials during the timeout. And Billy, they hit him with a tee.
Hit him with a tee in a game that has been as closely contested as this one. That'll be a 2-shot technical going to a team that shoots free throws extremely well. You can't afford to give up those kind of easy points in a game like this. And you know, these are very experienced officials. And so they're not going to call the quick tee on you. So John must have really pushed too far there. They're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. They know how much is on the line.
Hare will shoot the 2 free throws.
You see the foul again. Brown reaches. There's the push-off. He used a little bit of his shoulder. And Georgetown is going to pay for that foul a couple of times.
Well, they give up 2 points. Seton Hall had possession anyway coming out of the timeout, so they're not giving up possession. It was not Georgetown's ball before the incident. Now Seton Hall's lead at 7 and a chance to add to it.
But you put the Hare on the line, the 3rd best free throw shooter in the conference. He buries 2. Well, picking up intensity now.
Wow. Hare, after being double teamed and reaching in this time, they say Ronnie Thompson, and he's unhappy about it. Jim Nance and Billy Packer from the Garden in New York, the Big East Championship. Seton Hall by 7.
Let's see if P.J. Carlesimo does the same thing again in regard to his offensive strategy. Did not use a postman, spreading things out, maybe anticipating that he was going to see this kind of intense pressure. And by bringing his offense up a little higher and spread it out, maybe get a backdoor cut here.
Mourning is not in the game for Georgetown, so Mutombo stays in underneath. Hare from the baseline, hit the side of the backboard.
Good defense by Churchwell.
Here's Churchwell at the other end, bringing it back out.
For a long time since Mutombo's touched the ball in the low post. Credit Avent with that.
Yep, Avent doing a good job of fronting. Now Mutombo has position. Off the leg of Walker. Jumping off the bench, Harrison for Thompson.
Well, you're going to see Avent doing a great job. He gets around, he sides Mutombo at all times. He's strong enough to prevent Mutombo from just breaking to any point. He just beats him to the spot constantly. He's stuck on his back right now, and then he moves around behind him.
Third on Winchester. That Indiana game now a final from Champaign, Illinois.
Jim, we were talking about number 1, number 2 seeds in conference tournaments, and I said I couldn't think of one in regard to the the ACC. We talked about Duke, North Carolina. We just thought about Texas, Arkansas would be another one. And I'm not saying that there aren't even others beyond that, but so many tournaments this year. What we had 11 was seeds 7 or lower won their opening game. So it has been a wild year for postseason tournaments.
I think that more and more the kids are realizing that the tournaments aren't necessarily set up for the best teams. They're set up as a last chance effort for the lower echelon teams in the conference, and that's what I think's wrong with them.
Well, and here we have certainly a tournament in which number 1 and 2 are long gone.
Of course, in Syracuse's case, it may have cost them the 1 seed.
But both teams really picking up the intensity level in regard to the way they're moving their feet on defense.
Asaf Barnea is in for Seton Hall.
There was a case. Harrison had Mutombo, but he waited too long to throw it to him.
Brown forcing the foul, and he'll go to the line. I tell you, Avent doing just a remarkable job on Mutombo.
Yeah, he really is, but if you're the guy that's feeding the post, you have got to anticipate when your offensive teammate is breaking to an opening. And that's not taking place today. There's a hard-working young man right there.
He has challenged Mutombo throughout this game. Mutombo has only made 2 shots from the floor. And he will sit now as Mourning comes back. Ronnie Thompson in for Lamont Morgan.
Of course, Avent, the only remaining member of a Final Four club from Seton Hall, as you pointed out yesterday.
He was the 9th man on that Pirate '89 squad.
Of course, Joey Brown physically resembles the guy that prevented Seton Hall, I think, from going to the championship.
Ramil Robinson.
Ramil Robinson. Same kind of build.
From winning the championship on the what some people felt was a phantom foul.
Well, we're not seeing any phantom fouls today. These guys are really banging each other.
Ten minutes to go in this game. 6-point lead for Seton Hall. Walker dumps it in over the head of Avent.
Tough pass to make and even tougher to catch.
Number 55, Archer's Pernicious replaces Jimmy Walker for Seton Hall.
Carolina's lost the 2 regular season games against Duke.
Right.
You give them much of a shot today?
Oh, sure. They've got an outstanding team. Duke playing so aggressively, though, on defense. And the other thing that's going to be a factor there, remember that Duke did not have to play in the opening round of that tournament due to the bye with Maryland being ineligible.
Here's another Georgetown turnover. Duke won the 2 games this year by 14 in its own building, and then 6 last week as Carolina came back but fell short in the end at home. Oliver Taylor says, why not? You can give me the open lane. I'll take it.
Beautiful shot using the left hand. And Jim, a stat to remember about Duke's situation. Every team in ACC history that ever won the regular season and the conference championship tournament went to the Final Four.
Wild scramble for it.
Boy, they go to the floor.
How about this effort? Tie-up situation. The possession arrow belongs to Georgetown.
But for the purist in basketball that likes to see ballet, this is not the league to watch. But as far as effort and guys that don't mind going to the floor for the ball, this is the place. And of course, people that are going to face Big East teams in the NCAA tournament will realize that early on if they think they're going to get any wide open jump shots.
Warning tries to set a pick interior-wise to free Mutombo, but Avent still breaks free from it. Now Warning from the free throw line rattles home.
See, what they create when he steps out is space for Mutombo. So even if Alonzo's not hitting the shots, at least there's some space for him to rebound.
On the double team, they say that Lamont Morgan held to Hare. That's 3 on Lamont and 6 on Georgetown in this half. Our tournament coverage will begin on Thursday at 12 noon. I believe 3 games tip at 12. And we'll be with you throughout the tournament. All 63 games of the NCAA tournament on CBS. We'll be with you all day Thursday, Thursday night, Friday day, Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, of course.
Now, Jim, we talk about the competitive nature of this league over the period of time, how well Georgetown has played in the championship, in which they're undefeated 6-0. But just think, in the history of this tournament, and the great testimony to John Thompson as a coach, they are 23-5, which means that in the Big East tournament and its history, he has coached teams to 83% wins. That's absolutely amazing.
To win 6 of the 11. Syracuse has 2 Big East championships, St. John's with 2, and UConn won last year.
Well, I like those guys that build up records like that over a period of time. So it wasn't just with one group of athletes he's been able to build that record.
Inside, Mutombo blocked by Avent, but Avent got a piece of the arm.
No question that it was a foul, but shows you how strong Avent is, because Alonzo is going up with a 2-handed dunk here, and Avent gets a piece of it and still strips it away.
You know, Billy, coming into the Big East tournament, a lot of people were saying that Georgetown's record, and once you eliminate the Division II opponents, was very sketchy as to whether they would admit them into the tournament. But now I don't think there's any doubt at all. But you eliminate the 4 Division II opponents, and do you know that Georgetown's schedule the rest of the way was the 2nd toughest in college basketball?
I saw that. The 2nd toughest schedule. They played outside their league, Ohio State, Duke, UTEP, and DePaul. Of course, they were 1-5 in those games, beating Duke but 16 games overall against top 25 opponents. Pretty strong competition.
Did you see what team had the toughest schedule in the country this year, Division I?
Is that the University of Maryland?
Iowa State.
Iowa State, aren't it?
Not going to the tournament.
Johnny Orr, he needs to be a better scheduler. He's got a good contract out there. He needs to play a little lighter schedule. That's not something any coach really wants to say that he has.
This time Avent goes up strong, and the foul's called on Mourning.
You know what? You know where that came from?
Reciprocating from the other end?
No question. Alonzo's not used to having two-handed dunks blocked by somebody, even though he did have the foul. He has been, I think, a lot better, and you also don't need that kind of lip coming from him either.
Yeah,
that's the kind of thing that put a baseball pitcher down for a little bit. He's controlled his temper much better the second part of this season, but that was something that we used to see a lot of earlier in his career, and no need for it. The free throw shooting contest continues.
You know, at the NCAA convention this year, the Big East Conference tried to pass a Proposition 80 that would have really been an amendment to Proposition 48, would have given the kids who are making satisfactory progress toward a degree an extra year back. It would have included Anthony Avent. It's his last year, his last Big East tournament. We'll be right back. Now 6, Georgetown with 2 timeouts remaining. Possession arrow belongs to Seton Hall. Jim Nance and Billy Packer. This is the exact kind of game you forecasted would be, Billy.
Well, it is. You take two teams that hold their opponents to such a tough field goal shooting percentage, and they're great in that area. So you don't get a pretty contest here, Jim. But it is almost a war type situation. Free throw shooting becomes paramount, and as this game stays in this way, I look for Oliver Taylor's experience to come to the front a little bit too in regard to that ball handling, as PJ will start taking a little time off the clock.
Well, his backcourt mate, Terry DeHare, gets a steal, and then as the Hoyas surround him, they get a hold on him, and that's 4 on Alonzo Mourning. Billy, just before the break, I brought up this Proposition 80 that was nixed at Nashville this year at the NCAA convention. You know, they were so quick to make decisions on the voting there. I think it was a tremendous oversight. I know there'll be attempts to bring back some more same kind of legislature next year. I really think that's something they ought to consider. If a kid's on track to graduate, they ought to be able to go back and give the kid the year back.
I would think so too, is because that would be the goal. If a boy has, a young man has proven that he could go ahead and do the work academically, and they're talking about 96 hours passed with a 2.0 average, which means that he's right around the corner of being able to get his degree. Why should he continue to be penalized when he's given that type of effort on the academic side over a period of 3.5 years?
You wonder, they were so quick to go through all the proposals and vote on the propositions, that if they really sat and had thought about that one.
Well, the study done by the Detroit Free Press shows that the first group of Prop 48 athletes actually graduated in a higher ratio than the others, and higher than the normal student body.
Joey Brown driving, missing underneath. Oh, and the follow is Mutombo, and Karnisovas with the rebound.
Mutombo could not elevate himself because all the bodies pushed him down underneath. And here you see the little delay game by P.J. Carlesimo. I thought this was going to come. I didn't think it would come quite so soon. I thought he'd wait till he got under 5 minutes. But he's got a little working margin here of 8 points. He's got a great free throw shooting team.
7 minutes on the clock.
And he's got Taylor, who he can use for the last 10 seconds in the delay game each time. There he goes.
There he is. High up. He goes.
And gets a rebound.
Yeah, look at him.
Now they'll take another 35 off. And see, the wise thing they're doing here, if possible, let DeHare handle the ball for the good portion of the 35 seconds so that Taylor doesn't get worn down. Nice move by P.J. Carlesimo. See, they keep Taylor away from the ball.
On this possession, they've taken now a full minute off the clock. Here he is. Taylor gets Brown to commit, takes the 2.
Not hitting them today.
Barnea over the back of Mutombo. His first, team foul number 6.
Jim, you know, and you don't ever want to second guess yourself, but at 7 minutes, that's a lot of time to go into the legs. And I realize they're a good free throw shooting team, but it may give Georgetown what they need to make a little run here.
It was an empty trip, but again, Billy, they did burn a minute off the clock. Hold on to Hare, and that'll put Georgetown at the line for a 1-and-1.
And that burned no minutes or seconds off the clock and puts Georgetown in a chance to pick up 2, put themselves down just 6. Hare gets a piece, grabs the jersey, could have even been called intentional.
Got a lock on the arms also. Now Joey Brown from Morgan City, Louisiana. The latest in the long list of players to play for Coach Thompson from the Bayou State. Started out with Steve Martin back in '79. Tip try goes out of bounds. Seton Hall basketball.
Well, I said it would be a move that could help Georgetown, but you've got to make those free throws. Now, so far in this game, Seton Hall's of the total points scored 38% from the foul line.
Here comes the Hoya pressure. Easily beat by Barnea.
He's going to take it.
And Mutombo fouled him on the way up.
Oh, that was a gut play there. Barnea showing some
and that's 5.
Excellent speed.
5 now, Billy, on Mutombo.
Hey, goes for the two-hand dunk.
Not a lot of contact right there, Billy.
Well, excellent play, though, on Barnea. He committed it about 30 feet away from the basket, that he was going all the way with it and showed some speed.
So Mutombo, you're allowed 6 in the Big East. He will sit with 6:11 to go. Brian Kelly is on the floor for the Hoyas. One more for the 6'8" freshman from Israel. 9-point lead for Seton Hall. Avent now trying to front Mourning as Mutombo's on the bench.
With the exception of Morgan, they haven't had anybody on the perimeter that's shown he can make a jump shot today, and that's been, of course, one of their problems all year long.
Mourning and Avent muscling inside as Harrison misses. Seton Hall ball.
Seton Hall does as fine a job blocking out as a team as you'll see. They just keep people off the boards.
Here again, they get it to Barnea to break the press. 5:30 on the game clock.
Now with a 9-point lead.
Good steal by Harrison. And right back, Taylor fouled him as Harrison was about to go all the way for the uncontested layup.
Excellent steal here. Taylor looking forward, didn't realize that Harrison was still behind him. Excellent steal. Nice strip.
3 on Taylor, 8 on Seton Hall, so it's still the 1-and-1 situation.
Seton Hall, although they had never been to the final game before, does have one victory against one of those 5 losses John Thompson's had in Big East history. Quarterfinal game back in '88, they beat them 61-58 with their only win against Georgetown in Big East tournament competition.
Back in the Mark Bryant days, and there's now 5 for Harrison. He averages 12. The Hare drops it to Karnishevich, right over Tourney.
Well, how about Terry DeHare today as opposed to yesterday when he was frustrated trying to get off shots that weren't there? Today, just playing a good solid floor game.
Well within the team concept. as Kelly just wildly threw it up.
And John Thompson looks at him all the way down the court. He'll be coming out.
Right now, here comes Churchwell to
and
check in.
He's thinking, son, what are you doing there?
Double team on Nathan. Taylor has it taken away. The Hoyas will score easily this time. Harrison.
Let's not jump too quickly on easily, Jim. You saw the Utah game last night.
That's true.
Uncontested layup missed.
Whoa. Oh, that should be.
Well, that will be definitely a foul.
Yeah, well, I thought maybe even be more than that.
Well, I didn't think it was flagrant. They were going for the block. See Taylor. He's open. Morgan going for the block, as did Harrison from the back.
Charles Harrison is second, team's 10th.
North Carolina and Duke, ACC championship. To most of the nation, some will see Loyola Marymount and Princeton.
There you talk about the contrast. Highest scoring team going against that. Keeps people to the lowest score. Another solid game by this young man. He's really had an outstanding tournament.
He will be the MVP, and Seton Hall holds on to win. MVP of the Big East tournament. That honor last year went to Chris Smith from UConn. You know, today his point totals aren't as high as they had been, but he's the
leading rebounder.
Leading rebounder with 5. Caver will give Taylor a blow.
Well, you know what? That's an excellent substitution right there, because what PJ is saying is, fellas, I'm going to keep my man fresh for that last 3 minutes. He wants him to go ahead and sit down, be able to come back for that delay game.
Avent also is out at the moment. Let's see if they go inside. Avent's done such a good job of fronting the two big Georgetown players, Mourning and Mutombo. Walker muscling inside at the moment. Mourning beats him easily. There you go. Avent's absence coming through.
Sure. But PJ has got the lead, so he's going ahead and rest his men and get ready for the crunch.
And Mourning takes a whack at him.
Now the main thing here is to get those fans back away. Terry DeHare knew when he was going in that Alonzo was going to be there. When Alonzo went for the block, just hard-nosed play. He knew Alonzo was coming from the side.
Bob Jamieson of CBS taking a big hit on this one.
Well, now that was an intentional from the backside, not by Alonzo Mourning, but by Joey Brown. I mean, watch the play there. Brown, without question, should have been called for an intentional foul from the back.
There was a kick at the end of that.
Well, I don't know if it was a kick as much as DeHare was going to step over and Alonzo lifted his leg up. I mean, I didn't really see a little push. He's starting to get a little frustrated now. DeHare will go to the line, but I definitely felt it was an intentional foul by Brown from the backside.
That foul was not on Mourning. They called it on Joey Brown. Brown and Mourning both were coming in on DeHare. They changed their call. Originally it had gone against Mourning, so he has only 4.
Well, Jim, then I really feel it should be intentional. If the official said that he saw the foul on Brown, it had to be an intentional. He just came down over the back with 2 arms.
.11 for DeHare.
And PJ saying, as long as I've got the lead, I'm going to keep my key backcourt man on the bench.
Timeout at the Garden. Big East Championship with 3:39 remaining.
John Hancock Financial Services. Real life, real answers. Visa, honored at over 8 million places worldwide. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And by 7-Up and your local 7-Up bottler. 7-Up, the cool spot.
Seton Hall trying to win its first Big East championship. Timeouts. 2 for the Hoyas, 3 for the Hall.
Hunter's conditions.
Possession arrow belongs to Seton Hall. Georgetown has led only one time in this game, a 1-point lead.
Jim, the other thing that goes in Seton Hall's favor is as long as they can keep this lead, they really keep Taylor on the bench to keep him rested for what may be just 1 minute. There's another mistake on the perimeter game.
Lamont Morgan called for traveling.
Big difference in this basketball game has been the experience in the backcourt area for Seton Hall.
You know, the Hoyas were down 11 at one point in the first half, Billy, and they had that 1-point lead at the beginning of the second half. What turned it around at that point?
Well, I don't think that they've ever been able to get their big people into the game offensively.
And Avent gets a large end of the credit for that.
Sure. And here you see the little box with the hair out front. P.J. Carlissimo at the 7-minute mark set the stage for how this game was going to be played the rest of the way. No secret to John Thompson. He was going to go to the delay game, take 35 seconds off the clock on every possession, and then go ahead and use either DeHare or if he happened to have it that time in the game, Oliver, to go ahead and take his man one-on-one, draw the foul or get off the shot.
Walker's in for Karnisovas. Here comes Mutombo. Morgan will go out. Avent has come back in also during the timeout for Seton Hall.
And Jim, of course, the strategy Seton Hall is going to use, having two big people, is really negated a great deal for Georgetown because you can't go out and chase with Mutombo and Morning.
DeHare, the first team All Big East member this year with Billy Owens, Malik Sealy, Eric Murdoch, and that man, Dikembe Mutombo.
And if you are going to play both big guys, it might be a good idea to chase in a half-court zone trap as opposed to man-to-man, particularly with the setup that Seton Hall has out there.
Double-digit lead, 14 for DeHare. Walker this time knocks it away. Caver on the floor, gets it to DeHare, and the Pirates have it.
And Morning's got 5, and he's chasing DeHare. He better watch out for the foul. But it's Mutombo with 5, Morning with 4. Two pretty good ball-handling guards back there right now. Caver and DeHare. Backcourt of the future for this team. It's going to be the thick of things next year in college basketball as well.
Winchester. Avent underneath may have pushed off. Yep, they'll call him for it. His 4th. Team foul number 9. The Hoyas will shoot the 1-and-1.
One of the things you don't want to do, and of course you can't default Avent in this one because he was hustling, you don't want to foul if you're Seton Hall because that stops the clock.
Final 2 minutes and change from Madison Square Garden. Jim Nance, Billy Packer, and Leslie Visser. Reminding you Carolina and Duke for the ACC championship will be coming up next to most of the nation. Others will see Loyola Marymount and Princeton.
They played one time in a game before the clock, 12-10. That was exciting, huh?
What was the halftime on that one? 4-2, was it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a championship game. And they say part of the reason the clock came in were the years when Carolina played against Virginia. The great Sampson, Jordan, Perkins were the years when the delay game was put in to play against the Sampson teams, and people just got tired of saying, hey, let's play some basketball.
Winchester out, Taylor in. Here comes the Hoya pressure after the 2 free throws. They'll take Morning out and bring in Lamont Morgan. And another substitution, Chip Sims from deep off the bench, wearing a different number than he's usually assigned.
Jim, what I think the reason for that is going to be the automatic fouler. He's got to find a man if he's going to foul somebody.
approaching 15 on the shot clock. Underneath, Walker.
How about that fake?
Got Mutombo to commit and then use the other side of the glass.
He is wise beyond his years as a basketball player.
Three-pointer.
Almost another rebound for Oliver.
DeHare on the 3-on-2.
Oh, a block out. Avant created a block situation so that Georgetown players couldn't get to Terry DeHare.
Saw DeHare stutter step and hesitate and wait for it to clear out.
Well, with 1:27 to go, normally you can see Avant set a nice screen all the way down. DeHare doesn't get it to fall. He's had a rough time offensively, but today he played a much smarter game than he did yesterday.
Sims on the foul. Brian Kelly comes in for the Hoyas.
And of course, the third best free throw shooter in the Big East goes to the line now to really start sealing this one up.
DeHare reached 1,000 career points in the win against Pittsburgh on Friday. Today, Anthony Avant went over 1,000 with his 6th point. Avant now has 15 for the day. And that's been a popular number because Seton Hall's win against the Panthers was the school's 1,000th win in school history. Is tied for the largest lead of the game for the Pirates. And Mourning with his 5th foul.
Object here to just stop the clock as quickly as possible.
Some people have suggested that this Seton Hall team is equally proficient as the '89 runner-up team, and I don't know about that, Billy. I think maybe next year, huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that because that '89 club had great experience in the front court and size, better size than this team.
Well, PJ was the 1989 National Coach of the Year for the effort by the Pirates, going all the way to the finals in overtime against Michigan. And he says the Final Four team was better in rebounding, three-point shooting, and had more depth.
Other than that, they're about equal.
Yeah, he's saving up for next year. He knows next year.
He likes this club. I just think it's so great that Seton Hall, as a university, stayed with PJ at a time when everybody said he couldn't turn the program, and that confidence they showed in the young fella gave him the opportunity to get the breathing room necessary to turn his program to where it is today.
Lonnie Thompson on the 3, Mourning on the follow, and a timeout by the Hoyas. Georgetown has one timeout left. 1:08 remaining before Seton Hall will be crowned the Big East champs.
Jim and Billy. Jim?
How do you think Princeton will do in the tournament, Billy?
Well, again, you're the guy for the seeding, Jim. You know they're not going to be a 16th seed, so they're going to
be like a 6 or a 7.
So they're not going to have to get up there with, one of the real power teams in the country right off the bat, as has been the case in the past. I think they've got a good chance to go ahead and move into a couple of wins in the tournament this year.
Karnisovas will go to the line. Yeah, the Tigers will have a chance to wear the home uniforms for at least one game now in the tournament. They'll be the better seed in the first round, I'm sure. Tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes. Now, if you think Saddam Hussein was cruel and mean and awful, the man you're about to meet tonight may be even worse. Another enemy? No. Our friend, the president of Syria. That's 60 Minutes tonight, followed by Murder, She Wrote. And the CBS Sunday movie Aftermath, A Test of Love with Richard Chamberlain and Michael Learned.
Some strange championship. Hall is going to shoot under 40%. I'd like to know how many conference champions there are around the country that win their game, shooting 37%. The other thing strange, with all the big guys in this game and all the aggressive play, three leading rebounders for Seton Hall today turn out to be three guards. With Oliver Taylor, who has led the way scoring-wise this entire tournament, the #1 rebounder with 5.
I think Avin has been so tied up with Mutombo, and sometimes Mourning, he hasn't been able to get free for the rebounds he normally does.
Well, very good point, because he's been blocking his man off the boards to allow guards to come in there and grab some rebounds.
Coordinating producer of NCAA basketball on CBS is Bob Dekas. Today's Big East Championship game directed by Robert A. Fishman. The Prudential at the half was produced by Eric Mann and directed by Duke Struck. The senior producer of CBS Sports is Ed Gorin, and the executive producer of CBS Sports is Ted Shaker. I think we got to give Avin our player of the game, but obviously Taylor the tournament MVP, Billy.
Well, I think Mike Swanson was the tournament MVP, our stat man, for keeping up with all of this, because there have been some wild stats in this tournament.
Ronnie Thompson with 2. Taylor will go to the line. Let's go ahead and award him in the final 48.7 seconds. The Chevrolet players of the game are Alonzo Mourning, Big numbers today for Alonzo. 22 points, 13 rebounds.
But when you look at the last 4 or 5 games, Mourning has been playing with All-American type numbers.
Anthony Avent, 15 points. More importantly, he held Mutombo to 8 points. A check in the amount of $1,000 will be donated to each college's general scholarship fund to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields.
You know, it was interesting when they talked about the All-Big East team, and I was talking to Jimmy Boeheim the other day, and he said, well, he was questioning some of the selections. Right away I was thinking he was thinking about Dave Johnson, you know, the outstanding junior player who had a great year for Syracuse. And I said, well, how about, you know, Dave Johnson? And he said, how about Anthony Avent? He said every coach in the league thinks he's one of the real premier players in the conference. And today, of course, he proved it again.
One of 2 seniors on this Seton Hall team, Avent and Taylor. And there's the 3 by Harrison. Timeout called with 39.9 seconds to go. 9-point lead for Seton Hall. We'll be right back. Final 40 seconds of this one. We'll be getting you to the ACC final next. Duke and North Carolina playing for the championship. Most of the country will see that. Some will get the Loyola Marymount Princeton game. By the way, I erroneously gave that basket to Harrison. Let's credit that last 3-point goal to Ronnie Thompson, who has 5 off the bench. Oh, breakaway time for Karnišovas and a jam session. PJ's mom and dad love it. There's Ronnie Thompson at the other end, short.
Avent wanted to just hold it and occupy the clock, but if he'd have gone long, they'd have had another jam. That was a nice move, Jim, coming out of that timeout. PJ set up his team across the court. Then when Georgetown made their defensive assignments, he put them going in the long way, and that allowed Karnišovas just to break loose, nobody on him at all.
Mutombo and Mourning and Coach Thompson.
And you talked about Princeton before, a team that you have to do special things to prepare for. What I think is going to help Georgetown, particularly if they can get by their first game in the NCAA tournament, is they are a very difficult team to prepare for.
Carolina has taken the early edge, and Taylor comes to the bench, and the crowd comes to its feet. Oliver Taylor, the senior from Far Rockaway, New York. And Anthony Avent, the seniors honored as they'll close out their Big East play, winning the Big East championship as seniors. And they both make the all-tournament team. It's just been released. Taylor is indeed the Big East MVP, joined on that squad by teammate Anthony Avent, Dikembe Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning, Eric Murdoch of Providence, and Mark Dowdell of Villanova. Villanova earned an NCAA bid with 2 wins in this tournament, including the victory over Syracuse. But I think Providence right now is really on the bubble. I think their chances are rather dubious. Here's a steal by Caver. Caver will fly and dunk it home. Harrison with a 3, and Seton Hall in its first Big East final has won the Big East championship. 74, Georgetown 62. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports, home of the NCAA Basketball Championship. Stay with us on Selection Sunday. Congratulations to Coach P.J. Carlesimo and the Pirates as they win the Big East title.